Alex Bregman's decision is on the horizon, and the New York Mets are thought to be a serious suitor for the two-time All-Star third baseman. In this video, we are talking about Bregman and the likelihood of him coming to Queens and joining the New York Mets. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Mets offseason discussion on the True Mets Talk podcast. It's your boy CP, and we are going 2 for 2 on the channel today. Earlier, we talked about Pete Alonso. If you missed that video, I'll link it in the description down below. And now we are talking about more offensive weaponry, potentially for the New York Mets, as they look to solidify their lineup, the middle of their lineup to go alongside Mr. Juan Soto. All of these names that we're talking about, especially Pete Alonso and Alex Bregman, have everything to do with one another, and I'll discuss that here in this video. But before we get into it, please do smash those thumbs up buttons if you enjoy these Mets discussions on the channel. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy what you hear. You'll hear more of it as we go through this offseason right here on the channel. And please do comment your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. First off, let's start with the recent reports surrounding Alex Bregman's market. Multiple insiders have suggested the Yankees are out on Alex Bregman and have decided to pursue other options on the market. At one point, the Yankees were thought of as a perfect fit for this third baseman, but it appears that they don't have any interest any longer. And it was never clear how interested they actually were. And also, what we know, per the GM of the Houston Astros himself, Dana Brown, stating the fact that the Houston Astros negotiations with Alex Bregman have stalled significantly. It was reported that Bregman wants upwards of $200 million. Now, whether he's going to get that or not remains to be seen. I am under the impression that he is not going to get anywhere near $200 million, but it's certainly going to surpass any amount that the Houston Astros offered him, which was said to be around $150 million. I really do think around $170, $175 million over the course of 6 years is the perfect sweet spot for Alex Bregman in a potential deal. But again, it won't come in a Houston Astros uniform, especially after their trade of Kyle Tucker and they acquired Isaac Paredes. In that trade, presumably they have their corner infielders locked up in Christian Walker and Isaac Paredes. So who is in alongside the New York Mets? That would be the Detroit Tigers and the Boston Red Sox. The Detroit Tigers seem like the most perfect fit and really should be considered, according to some media outlets, as the favorites for Alex Bregman, especially their desperate need for a third baseman, as well as Bregman's connection with former Houston Astros manager A.J. Hinch, who is the current manager of the Detroit Tigers right now. We have the Boston Red Sox, whose situation is a lot more unique than a potential Detroit Tigers situation for Alex Bregman, given that the Red Sox already have their corner infield taken care of with Rafael Devers and Tristan Casas, respectively. But it also comes back to the Red Sox pitching plans and what they have planned for the rest of the offseason, already getting Garrett Crochet and Walker Buehler. Do they have one more trick up their sleeve to add a frontline starter? Their name has been associated with Luis Castillo, as has the Mets, and also Pablo Lopez. If the Twins move Lopez, that could be a situation to look out for both the Mets and the Boston Red Sox. But let's just say that the Red Sox don't end up trading Tristan Casas, which his name has been included in said trade talks for a pitcher, whether the Boston Red Sox fan base likes it or not. Alex Bregman has also come out and openly stated that he is willing to play second base as well for whichever team he plays for in 2025 and beyond. And that could be a situation that both the Mets and the Red Sox look at. The decision on what's going to happen with the rotation for the New York Mets, especially after the recent Sean Manaea extension. In the recent True Mets Talk reaction to the Manaea extension, I talked about there being one more move left to be had for a top-line starter for the New York Mets rotation. Is that going to happen, or are the Mets done? That is the biggest question right now, because we are now on payroll watch, as we are just about 50, a little bit over $1 million away from what the Mets payroll was last season. Um, and if the Mets decide to go all in on Roki Sasaki, that is great. I think everybody and any team is going to be all in on Roki Sasaki. It's a big wild card, a big question if the Mets can land him. There are some positive news to go off of that could make us optimistic on a Roki Sasaki signing happening. Maybe there's a world where Bregman and Alonso are New York Mets in 2025. Alonso, as we mentioned in the video earlier today, is probably going to take up $30 million of your payroll AAV-wise if he takes a short-term deal. And there is still a discussion to be had about him getting a longer-term deal, 4 to 5 years. But with everything that we've been hearing, a shorter-term deal becomes more likely. So let's just say it's 3 for 90, which is what we've been hearing. That's the hype of what we've been hearing, whether it's confirmed or not. That's $30 million a season right there for Pete Alonso. Now you're taking a look at a long-term deal for Alex Bregman. As we mentioned earlier, he is wanting around $200 million. He's not really going to get it, but when you dumb it down to the AAV, you're talking about $28 to $29 million for Alex Bregman, and that's already about $60 million collectively before you even talk about the bullpen. And this is why understanding and taking into consideration the payroll allocation for the New York Mets is so important. But what is the advantage that the Mets have over the Red Sox in the Alex Bregman sweepstakes is that they are not tied into Pete Alonso. So let's say the negotiations fall through for Pete Alonso and the New York Mets. Alex Bregman is a good candidate to play at his natural position, and you just move Mark Vientos over, and the Red Sox simply don't have that luxury because they are tied into and with Tristan Casas, and they would have to find a trade partner or just move Alex Bregman to second base. But what kind of player is Alex Bregman? And what player has he been over the past 3 seasons as we talk about a trajectory and the same discussion and conversation that we have with Pete Alonso? What has he produced and what is his trajectory in terms of a potential long-term deal? Well, as I've mentioned in our Mets Hot Stove live streams, 2024, just as Pete Alonso, wasn't his best year. Not by far at all. You take a look at the on-base percentage. The home runs were still consistent. The OPS, right, it was below 800. And that is a little bit concerning, right? That is a little bit concerning to say the least. Now, what you also don't see on your screen, and you can go see this on his Baseball Savant page, is that Alex Bregman definitely does not strike out as much as Pete Alonso. You're talking about percentages that are about 10% below league average in terms of the strikeout rate for Alex Bregman. But what we have seen since 2022 is the strikeout rate slowly creeping up for Alex Bregman. You're talking about 2022, a strikeout rate that was, I want to say, just around 11%, give or take. And then it's climbed up just about 2.5%, which isn't a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But when you take a look at the on-base percentage in 2022 and 2023 and how high those were, and you take a look at how much it dipped in 2024, that could be a very key indicator of what's to come for Alex Bregman and maybe his approach and if it's changing at the plate. But also conversely to that, the walk rate for Alex Bregman also has been getting increasingly worse, which also contributes to that OBP dip that we saw in 2024. The walk rate over the past 2 seasons from 2022 to 2024, it's over 6% lower for Alex Bregman right now than it was before in his career. Again, you can take a look at his approach. Is that changing, and is that going to continue to change, and is that trajectory going to become a pattern in a potential long-term deal? With the walk rate and the strikeout rate aside, I can't sit here and tell you that Alex Bregman hasn't been one of the better bats in the league since he has entered this league. And on the flip side of things, we haven't even talked about his actual playoff experience. his World Series experience, which is exactly where the Mets are trying to get to, and also his Gold Glove caliber defense that he could provide you pretty much anywhere on the diamond, but especially at third base. You take a look at his range versus his arm strength. Arm strength isn't his best strength, and that kind of indicates to me that a transition in a year 4 or 5 of a potential long-term deal for Alex Bregman to second base could be an advantage that any team, especially the New York Mets, could look into as a possibility. And that is dependent on obviously what happens with Luis Angel Acuna. We've heard his name involved in some trade talks this offseason. Nothing is imminent with him on this roster at this point. We would all love to see him get a shot. You know, if he's around and on this team in 2025, which I now fully expect to be the case. But again, you take a look at the different ways that Alex Bregman could be an asset to a team in a potential long-term deal. It's a lot more, there's a lot more flexibility in that category for Alex Bregman than, let's say, a Pete Alonso, which is probably why the Mets are hesitant to give Pete Alonso a long-term deal in first place. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Alex Bregman's decision will be coming soon. I firmly believe that. I do think that it's going to be one of these teams that we talked about in this video, but who knows? Maybe there's a mystery team involved that we are not talking about right now. Maybe the Cubs are not satisfied and they would like another infielding option at third base and they just want to pair Tucker and Bregman again. Who knows? Let me know what you think. Do you want to see Bregman in a Mets uniform in 2025 and beyond? Let me know what you think the contract could look like. And as always, if you enjoyed this discussion, smash those thumbs up buttons on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new to the channel, and let me know what you think in the comments section. It's your boy CP, 2 of 2 on the channel today, talking Pete Alonso and Alex Bregman. Catch you all in the next episode. Peace.
Thank you for watching the True Mets Talk podcast. Make sure you're tapping on that notifications button and checking out all the latest content on the channel. Thank you.